Welcome to the podcast no one asked for. Today's episode is going to be a little different. Of course, this intro isn't our usual intro because, there's a lot of people in this. It's just not me and Sienna for this episode. Um, this episode is being posted on July 1st. If you are listening past July 1st, I'm just letting you know why it's being posted on July 1st and why that is important. So July 1st of this year, 2019, is the day 3 years ago that I had surgery to remove my thyroid completely because I had thyroid cancer. And for the past 3 years, I've been kind of processing different emotions from it. Really, I didn't process a lot of it till last year because the first year was just me trying to get through my senior year, and that was my only focus. And then after that, it was kind of me breaking down and getting to a point where I realized that I didn't have to be okay all the time, and that's what I felt like I needed to do in high school, my senior year, and when my first semester of college and the first year of college came around, I realized I wasn't okay, and I had to come to terms with that it was okay not to be okay, and kind of process and grieve over what had happened to me because I think I was just in shock and just wanting to enjoy my senior year when my first year of being cancer free. But this episode is specifically going to be talking about everyone around me who was involved, their reactions to the day I was diagnosed, and them calling me, or me calling them, and or my them telling me, and then their thoughts and emotions into the day that I was the week leading up till my surgery. And so it's emotional, it's real, but it's also very lighthearted because we don't want it to be too depressing and sad, and because that was one of the things that kind of kept me sane and happy. The first year was able to laugh at little things and not make it depressing and just laugh through it all and make I know it sounds bad, but make jokes about it, and because I don't know, I wasn't morbid. I didn't want to make it morbid. I didn't want it to be morbid, and my friends understood that, and everyone around me understood that, and so that was my only way of really kind of getting through it. So this episode has some lighthearted moments, but this is a very important episode to me. So if you are listening and you don't usually listen to full episodes, I would really appreciate anybody listening to this episode, that because this is very important to me, and the people who recorded this, they were really open and vulnerable about their emotions during the days, and so it's very real, but it's very interesting for me when I heard all this because none of us had ever talked about our emotions going into. They knew my emotions, but I never knew theirs. So wanting to hear theirs was something I never really thought about until this year, and so yeah, it was very interesting because none of us had ever talked about it. So this episode features Sienna as usual, with also our best friend Sydney, who we visited up in Austin a couple months ago. We had an episode with her. And then it also features my cousin, my best friend, my sister, Hannah, who was with me every step of the way through all of this and more. And there's even an appearance from my parents, who we've also never had a conversation about any of this before with. So it was also very interesting, and hope you enjoy, and thank you for listening. So right now we are joined with the infamous, my cousin, my BFF, my sister from another mister.
That would be a little weird. That's like impossible.
I know, but it's a saying. I'm just using it.
Okay.
Hannah, my cousin. And this episode if you don't already know. It's a very special episode because the day this episode goes up, July 1st, is 3 years since I was cancer-free and I had my surgery and everything. But the day we are filming this right now is June 21st. Yesterday, the 20th, was the 3 years since I told everybody I was diagnosed and I was diagnosed. So we're going to go through that.
Only she would remember the exact date.
That whole week was so
She
crazy.
remembers when she ate her first cheese snack as a little girl.
Rainbow School. I'm making an educated guess here.
You're probably right.
I am probably right. No, but so my friends, Sienna and Sydney, they went through the process with me after the fact, after they learned I was diagnosed. Hannah was with me the entire weekend before I was diagnosed. And every day after that, of course. So the week leading up to it was something that was what is really important and part of it because my mom had finished radiation from her breast cancer. And
that was the same week that she rung the bell.
yeah.
Wow.
And
I forgot about
yeah, there's a lot. And then she finished radiation, and then we had the celebration. I was at a musical, vocal camp and everything, and we had been planning to go to Selena Gomez together in Dallas, Texas that weekend. But then we learned my brother decided while he was at church camp that he wanted to get baptized.
So we stopped there
We stopped there first, but before we went there, I had to get a biopsy.
Yeah.
For my thyroid because that's what my
You didn't
doctors
have
asked,
problems.
and it was just I didn't think anything really of it. I mean,
Nobody did.
I thought worst case scenario, but then I'm like, no.
I thought they were just going to tell you your thyroid balances or something.
Right,
you
but
know?
they do that with blood works, but I was like, it hurt. I hated the biopsy. But
it was super fast though.
yeah, it was.
I remember that.
But
That same day is when we left to go up to Grant.
yeah,
And then we went to
Selena Gomez. So we saw
flew.
Yeah, so we drove up to Bandito, which is near San Antonio, a little further. So we saw him get baptized, which was really emotional. It was a really happy week, super happy. We flew to Dallas. We saw Selena Gomez, which was freaking amazing.
It was our first concert, just me and you,
Yeah.
going.
It was my first concert alone,
yeah.
without my parents. So it was
How old were we?
we were 17.
17.
Yeah, and so we had we went to the concert. We had so much fun. That was on the 18th of June. We flew back on the 19th, and I was just really.
After a long night of me not.
Yeah, you didn't get any sleep. Me and my mom snoring like trains.
I was in a bad mood to say the least.
Yeah, you went to the gym that morning or something.
I know.
Like that.
I was gone for 2 hours.
Where's Hannah? She's she's pissed.
I was so pissed. And I come back in the room and you're all scared to even talk to me.
But besides that, we flew back on the 19th that afternoon, and when we got home, I went straight to bed. I was really tired from everything.
I went home to Portland, which is across the bridge, and I think I fell asleep on the couch.
Yeah,
in the living room.
It was just kind of exhausting everything that we'd gone through that entire week. It was very crazy. Then June 20th, I woke up. A lot of people know this. Some people don't. Just some people who don't know. I woke up and my parents, to my mom and dad, sitting on my bed and telling me that I had thyroid cancer. But they used the medical terms, and I heard the medical term carcinoma because of Grey's Anatomy. That's literally what I remember telling them in the moment. I think it was panicking, and I was like, carcinoma. I've heard that word in Grey's Anatomy. I don't remember what it is, even though I had, at that point, watched it over. I've seen when you see medical movies, you might hear things and you understand them, but then you're in the moment when it's about you, you're just I don't remember what it means.
Yeah.
You just don't remember anything. But my head was still down in the pillow, and they told me what it meant and everything, and I just started crying, and I just kept screaming, why, and I asked the questions because I was really big into music at the time. What's going to happen to my voice? Am I going to lose my voice? Everything. We were trying to schedule time with a doctor and everything like that. So then, when my mom told me she had breast cancer, I called Hannah first. And so we FaceTimed each other, and I don't think you knew. Because my mom...
No, no one was home. I was alone.
Okay. So I remember, I don't know why, maybe it's...
My mom was coming home.
Right. Maybe that's... Because I remember seeing her when I FaceTimed. Maybe it was when I FaceTimed you about my mom.
No, because No. You saw her because she came in like halfway through our
Okay,
conversation.
yeah.
Because my dad was at work. Josh wasn't home, obviously, because of
Right.
college. And then she was coming home from like somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because you saw her at the end.
Right.
But she didn't know.
Okay, that's what I was trying to remember. I
Yeah.
can't remember if my mom talked to her before that or
No,
something
I
like
don't
that.
think so.
So I told you over FaceTime, and what this episode is about is everybody else's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was like your first reaction when I called and, because I was visibly upset.
Yeah. Well, I was laying on the couch because I was still tired from the concert and traveling and stuff. And I remember seeing my FaceTime, whatever, light up, and it was Morgan. And I thought that was normal because we always FaceTime each
Right.
other. Just like if we're happy, sad, mad, all the time.
Going through stuff.
You know, one time I was gonna go get my hair done, and I didn't even want to go in there because I was scared for some unknown reason because I'm an awkward social person. But anyways, besides the point. So I answered it, and she was like, her eyes were red, so obviously she had been crying, and I just sat there, and I was like, what's up?
Yeah.
And of course, you don't go to the worst of what could have happened because I saw that you were at home. It wasn't like you had gotten in an accident.
Not yet.
Foreshadow. But I was just like, what's up? And I figured, because obviously we know each other inside and out, that it was something with her mom or her dad that
because
feuding.
Right, because the last time I called her like that was when my mom had breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like me just having major anxiety.
Yeah.
Over anything going on in my house, basically.
Yeah. So I was just like, like not brushing her off.
No, but you know,
like
you have a feeling you know what's coming.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, we've been through this before,
right.
And then you're just staring at me, and I was just like, what? I was like,
I couldn't speak.
I was like, what's going on? And you were just staring, and I was just like, okay. And then I'm pretty sure your first words was, I have cancer.
Yeah.
And like, look, I'm getting the chills right now
No.
too. It was like that cold rush that goes through your body when you get that like adrenaline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like something that is like a record player in your ear and you want to like rewind it.
Yeah.
But, like you can't. And then I was like, and I like stared at her and I was like, you mean your mom had cancer?
Yeah.
But your mom doesn't have cancer anymore. And you're like,
it makes me sound like I'm crazy.
I know, right? I was like, hello. And I was just like, and of course I wasn't laughing because I was confused. I was genuinely confused. And, you know, I'm home alone. I don't know. It was just a weird, eerie, like, time anyways.
Right.
And then you're like, and then you said it again. You're like, I have cancer. And I was like, what do you mean you have cancer? We just came back from Selena Gomez. We just had the time of our lives in Dallas.
Right.
Your mom just got out of radiation.
Right.
Your brother just got baptized. And there was a lot of good things going on in my life at that time, too. And you're like, remember when we went to go get my biopsy stuff done on my thyroid? I was like, yeah. She was like, I have thyroid cancer. And I was like, cancer? Like, for sure? And you're like, for sure. And then you just started sobbing. And I think I was so in shock. Like, I couldn't even, like, develop the feelings that I was having. Because I didn't know what to do.
Right.
Because I remember whenever you told me about your mom, and the same thing. Whenever I get told big news like that, either good news or bad news, I do the same thing. I can't think.
Yeah.
So
your mind shuts down.
Yeah, and I just sat there, and my first thing was, do you need me to come over?
Yeah.
I remember that.
I remember you saying that.
I was like, I will come over now.
Right. Yeah.
I will freaking come in my pajamas because that's what I was wearing.
Yeah. It was early morning.
Yeah. I was like, I will get there.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, I figured you were gonna be like, no, it's fine. Like, just it's okay. And
because I was trying to process myself.
Exactly.
And my brother wasn't home. My brother's at practice. I wanted to pick him up, and I went to pick him up and everything.
Yeah.
But then later that day, we did hang out. You took me to a movie.
No, because you went to a movie with your parents.
No, that was for my mom.
Oh, that was your mom.
We went to
What did we go to?
We went to see Zootopia after my mom found out about hers.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
me and you, after my cancer, well, we saw 2 movies that week. I'm pretty sure. So after I found out, we saw Finding Dory, I believe, and you had to leave a little bit because you had softball at the end. Because later that week, after my car accident and everything, we saw Shallows.
I remember that because I had to walk out because I almost passed out. Remember that? With the, whenever she was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because
Anyways.
I remember that the only because we saw the 2 movies that week and I was like I can't remember.
I don't even remember that. I got the things confused.
See, I would always get Finding Dory or Shallow confused, but then the way I would remember it is by the time we saw Shallow, I had my surgery date and I had my instructions and everything like that on what I needed to do. I still had on fake nails from Selena Gomez and I needed those off. So during the entire movie, I started biting them off.
Oh.
That's the only way I know that it was Shallow.
It's the little things. It's
Because I wouldn't do it during Finding Dory.
Yeah, because there's no
And Finding Dory was just like feel good and that was out at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was what it was because then I asked you, I was like, do you mean to come over? And you're like, let's hang out later because I want to talk to my brother. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
And even though I had softball and stuff going on, obviously I would drop anything to. I mean, we're both there for each other for everything. And so I was like, and I remember eventually, I think it really hit me whenever we just kept talking about it. And then we were talking about your mom, about hers, and just like, is there going to be any similarities? Like,
right, my concerns, my fears about it.
Exactly. And I know that was kind of soon to talk about, but I mean, you got to get through the shock somehow.
Yeah.
And I remember then I started just crying pretty bad because.
Did you like? I can't remember if you cried like while we were still on the phone. I can't remember or like.
I think I was tearing up.
You were tearing up because I don't remember ever seeing you break down.
I really was trying to like stay strong for you type of thing because I didn't want you to be scared.
Right.
And obviously I was scared because I've never been through something like that.
Right.
Neither had you.
Right.
And I was just like, just keep it together. Like, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
And then I remember because I was like, just get some rest. And so
we hung up.
And so my mom didn't see you on FaceTime. That was probably during your mom.
Probably, yeah.
And so my mom gets home. But whenever I hung up, I mean, I was literally like, my dogs were with me on the couch, and I just screamed. I was just, because whenever I get angry and upset, I do this all the time in my car. I just scream as loud as I can.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that just feels so good. Yeah. I don't know why. No, screaming
it's like it releases endorphins, everything like that.
I don't think I even like really started crying before I screamed. Like, I just screamed. And like, of course, it scared the shit out of my dogs, but that happens. But I was just like, what the heck? I was like, I think I'm dreaming, like literally, in a movie,
right.
And then my mom came home, and I was just in tears, and she was like, what is going on?
Right.
And my voice was shaky. I mean, I remember that, and I was like, Aunt Tara hasn't told you? She was like, what? And then I told her, and like, we just both started crying.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I did this whenever I found out about your mom.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a drive, because I go on drives all the time just to like clear my head and stuff. But I remember this particular drive, I got in my car, and my mom was like, be careful.
Yeah.
She was like, just be careful. And I was like, you know that I have to go on a drive. And she was like, yeah, I know. And Jonathan, my boyfriend, was at work at the time, and he's always the one I just cry to.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I couldn't, because I needed somebody to like hold me in a sense, not literally, but like, just like, I know my mom was, but it's just different, you know? And so I went on a drive. I went to the dunes in Portland, and I sat there, and I remember playing a song, what is it called? It was from God's Not Dead. Well, I didn't play it. It came on. You know how whenever you put your phone in your car and it automatically connects to Bluetooth and it starts playing a song?
Right.
Well, it goes to my Apple Music, and it started playing a song. I can't remember what the song was called, but it was from God's Not Dead, and it was the part. Have you ever seen God's Not Dead?
Yeah, it's been a
It
while.
was the part with the Indian girl when her dad found out she was going to church and stuff.
I barely remember
And
that.
it was
What I Know.
yeah, What I Know. And it was like, let me try to remember the lyrics. It's like, what I know, you my God are real. There's nothing I cannot fear.
Oh yeah, this sounds familiar.
Yeah. And all I know is there'll never be a day where you can't take my breath away or something like that. And I was just pissed.
Mhm.
And I just sat there in my car and just cried. And I was like, because I think the one feeling that was really over me was fear.
Right, because we didn't know that. This is what we discussed with Sydney and Siano, is that they just heard cancer and we didn't know what stage, we didn't know anything. So they went to worst case, like, I'm super sick, I'm gonna die kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think I went to that extreme, because I knew if I did that, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened if I did that, but I was upset of not knowing.
Right.
And
because we didn't have all the information at that time.
Exactly, and you don't want to jump to conclusions, because you don't want to say, oh, she has stage 4
Right.
cancer, she has 2 days to live, you know, like you said. But I was just upset, as in everything was going perfectly. They just got out of Aunt Tara being in with breast cancer. I was like, why does this happen to her and not me? And I was like, why did it have to happen to them? And
because it happened within 5 days.
Exactly. And I was like,
it was a really bad roller coaster.
I was like, honestly, especially at that time, I was really trying to get closer with God, because I was, when you're in high school, you're carefree, nothing's going to touch you type of thing. And then the Aunt Tara thing hit, and I was like, oh, wow. Like,
that was our junior year.
Yeah.
The end of our junior year.
And junior year was a huge year for me, because we went to state for softball.
Right.
We were on the road to state.
Yeah.
Junior year of high school is the hardest, they say, and it freaking was. And I had been doing a lot of, like, reading every day, reflecting, writing, journaling, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. And that, like, that instantly I was like, what the heck? I thought if you start doing that everything's going to be perfect.
Right.
Not perfect, but
better.
It should be better. And then I got mad. I was like, freak you, God. I was like, obviously you don't freaking care, and you're just going to let my cousin suffer.
Right.
And this is going to be horrible.
See, that was me too, because I wasn't really honest about that until last year with myself, even, about that I had to put up this front that, like, I was really believing in God, and all He could do through me and my mom, and, like, we were being healed, and I became closer with God. I lied about that completely, because you're not going to tell people, oh yeah, no, because I had to, yeah, like, I had to put up this strong front of, like, I'm fine, when I truly wasn't, and my relationship with God deteriorated a lot. And up until last year is when I finally got it back, and when I changed churches and found a good group of people that I surrounded myself with.
That's one of the problems. You didn't have that.
Right, I didn't have that support group, and that with a church, and so that didn't help at all with everything going into my senior year.
Yeah, it was just a hard time, and you'd think that you would get closer to God in the harder times, like people say, and, like, I have, and I'm guilty of that.
Right.
And then everything's fine, and then I forget about Him.
Yeah.
And I just remember I was just so angry. And that day, then we got together, and it got better because we were together. And then, I just really had to be real with myself, and I was like, being mad at God, thinking that He did this on purpose, is not going to help.
Right, yeah.
And it wasn't true.
Right.
And I honestly do think it was a miracle that what happened with the outcome.
Right.
And, like, still to this day, I do regret getting so angry at Him, But at the same time, and I mean, it happened, and it happens a lot.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's a completely normal thing to do. But when I was realizing that I was stepping away, I was like, this isn't normal. I shouldn't be doing this. Like, I slowly stopped going to church for many different reasons, but that being
that was a big part of it.
Yeah, it was a big part of it. Like, I didn't have that. Like, we got so much over the past. Within 4 months, we got so many gift cards, so much food. Mm-hmm. We basically had food paid for.
You got a Facebook page made.
My mom did that.
I think one of y'all's good friends.
I think one of her friends did.
And then bracelets made.
Bracelets and everything like that.
Everything. I mean, amazing.
The thing they wanted to make me was T-shirts, and I knew somebody, from a family we had known from church, who had like stage 4 cancer, and they made T-shirts for her, and I was just like, I'm fine. Like,
yeah, you didn't want.
I didn't want
the attention.
I did not want the attention from it at all. I was like, you can make bracelets.
Yeah.
I'm fine with bracelets. That's
don't
fine.
Don't make this about me.
No, I did not want that whatsoever.
Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't talk about it on social media. I mean, no. I put a photo up saying like of me in like a hospital bed and everything, but barely you could see that. I put a dog filter from Snapchat on it because I was like, lighten it up a bit, here I am, drains in my neck and all, and I'm super pale and everything like that. But
dude,
I was just
you're always pale.
No, I am, but I was super pale then.
Is that possible?
Yes, because my senior photos, I had to do retakes, but they still used my first one, which was 3 weeks post-op, and my hair is bright blonde, and so I'm washed out.
Oh, God.
But,
wait, I remember that picture.
Yeah, it's super bad. That's the one they used. Yeah, it's awful. I don't know why my mom puts it up.
It's okay. My senior pictures, I was depressed and, you could see it.
Yeah, but
that's another story.
But like I put that photo on social media, I said I didn't say I had cancer or what I just went through. I just said thank you everyone for prayers and everything, so people didn't know.
But I remember that one that you took where you were smiling and then your scar was smiling.
That was a month after.
Yes, and you barely even like talked about it. You were just like, I thank God, I thank everything,
right,
and like. Just a bunch of stuff like that, and I just remember
I was being thankful, yeah.
And I just remember being so admirable about that because I'm not saying people want the attention when they get sick, but it's kind of an excuse to get the attention, and you didn't. That wasn't even on your mind because if you're a normal person, that is not on your mind.
No,
to get the attention.
I didn't want the only reason I was like putting like stuff about my cancer a month out was like more of. At that point, I still had stuff left in my cancer because they were going to put me on radioactive iodine where I would have to be quarantined. But then we got to MD and they said, no, that would make it worse.
Yeah, they're like, what?
So there was more possibly about to happen. Mm-hmm. So I was still kind of in that stage of like, I don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going on.
It was a very like up in the air situation, honestly.
For a good month or two. Because
I feel like there was just a lot of confusion with like,
the aftermath and everything because we were just going back and forth. But I remember I went to school and not a lot of people knew unless their parents were close to my parents or learned through Facebook. I think my mom put something up there, of course. But personally, not a lot of people knew in my class. Some people knew. Some people knew. There was one girl I remember I heard from one of my best friends who said, I wasn't even in the room, I think. I don't think I was. Which made it weird to me. But I was told after the fact that this one girl said to some guy who was talking about like cancer or something like that, she's like, don't say that. I was like it's a word. It's a freaking word.
It's not like it's gonna offend me.
Right.
Offend me.
Yeah. But that's what I didn't want. I didn't want like the sympathy. Yeah, I didn't want that sympathy.
You didn't want to be like walking down the halls being oh,
like the kid with cancer,
and looking all feeble and
just like.
But you weren't. You kicked cancer's butt. You did.
But my point was, I was going into my senior year of high school. I did not want to be depressed the entire year. No way. So
you didn't want to think of the what ifs.
No,
you were there. You were in the moment. You didn't die.
No. Yeah.
nothing happens.
Like, I wanted to have fun with my friends, and, like, my friends were, what got me through it was my friends, my senior year, because
they made you feel normal.
they made me feel, like, normal, like, I was like, I'm fine. We joked about it. We still, to this day, joke about this, because it's laughter. We kind of, like, go through, I know it's not, it's very morbid,
yeah.
but it's the only, like, if you go through it.
I mean, that's how we are.
Yeah.
Our family is humor-centered.
Right.
We're not dramatic and...
We are a little dramatic.
Okay, in the way of, like, soap opera dramatic, but in the way of, like, serious, like, emotional feeling dramatic, we're not.
No.
In a sad way, because that's just not who we are. And I think, like, you and your mom being the first, like, major crazy stuff that has happened in our close family, it really hit all of us hard in a different way.
Right.
And it was just kind of like...
Yeah.
Do we laugh? Do we cry? Do we cry and laugh?
Well, so, like, there was, like, the family, and y'all came to visit me. You were, like, one of the first people, I think, the day after.
No, and...
you came the day of surgery.
Because I was with you before you went in.
Right, you were with me before I went in, and then you came the next day because I finished surgery.
Obviously, because I wasn't going to wait for...
I was in it, but I was in and out of, like, sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
You
wouldn't have known.
No, I mean, like, my eyes opened a couple times, and I remember a few things.
Yeah.
One of the most emotional ones, seeing my brother cry. But I would be in and out, and I was in and out throughout the night. It was a rough night, but... Yeah, everyone came the next day, and everyone stayed, and I got to see everyone throughout the week, and but...
And that's whenever it turned, like, it did, like, a 180.
It's like, it showed everybody that I'm fine. I'm going to be fine.
I was like, they got it taken care of.
I was able
the main part.
I was able to talk to my friends and, like, spend time with them and everything. Like, it's normal. I'm just in a hospital bed with my butt being numb.
With a freaking gash in my
neck.
Throat.
Yeah, but...
it's all cool.
Right.
Everyone does that.
But the way we laughed about it is, like, they didn't, like, whenever I would bring up cancer, they didn't, like, get uncomfortable. They're like, we thought... What really made it, I think, funny, what we laughed, not funny, it's not funny.
Just lighten the mood.
What lightened the mood was that one of my friends Sienna is, like, if you know her, she doesn't, like, she gets a little uncomfortable in emotional situations, so she lightens it up a lot. And I'm just like, that's what I need. Give me your humor.
Well, because that's how you are, too.
Yeah.
You don't get really awkward.
Don't get really awkward, but, like...
I mean, everybody does.
Everybody does.
Except my mother, who embraces emotional situations.
Everyone just gets a little bit uncomfortable, and I was just like, two of my friends are the funniest people I know. Like, they've always kept me laughing. We always laugh together and everything, but... Like,
and that's what you need in that, because if you don't have that, or if you have the opposite of that, you would have been in the most horrible depression state.
Exactly.
And then that would have even been worse.
That's why we had to laugh about it, because I'm like, I need to keep smiling, keep laughing.
You need
because
to get your mind off
I needed to do everything. I put my heart into my senior year, doing everything I could. I wanted to participate in everything, do everything, homecoming, senior prank, do everything, because it was like, it's my senior year. Not because I had cancer, that doesn't change anything.
No, but it opens your eyes to be like, I could have not been here.
Yeah.
I could have been...
I'm like, let me do everything.
Bedridden, I could have been...
Right. That was one of the things.
Even worse.
We joked about me going into the radioactive iodine, because it seriously was funny. Because I was having to change my diet possibly to no salt, but also I was going to be quarantined into a room.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Like, I'm going to be some, like...
That is pretty funny.
Some Monsters, Inc. We've got a 4719.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever the number is, like hazmat suits coming in. We just joked about it like that at school.
Yeah, because that part was that after the surgery.
After it
was great.
Yeah.
Up until that, I mean, I pooped my pants.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It was only like a week and a half.
It was unknown.
Right.
Everything
was unknown until but after that, after I had gone through everything, it was like, let's have fun, laugh.
But, like, you don't think, like, we were looking at these pictures over here from our pre-K days, and we went to pre-K together, for anybody that cares. But, you know, you don't think growing up with your best friend and cousin and sister that something bad is going to happen to you or them.
Right.
You know? And it's like, whenever you hear words, it's just words. But whenever you see it and see the effect and see it's all real is whenever it hits you. And I didn't want to I didn't want to lie that everything was going to be okay.
Right.
But at the same time, I was like, everything is going to be okay because it has to be.
Right. And like, honestly, like, I had never known anybody close to me to be sick or have cancer. Ever, until my mom, of course. So it all happened within 4 months, and like
it happened so fast.
it happened so fast, and it was such a roller coaster. But I took advantage of it, and like you've been with me through every bit of it, and like brought us even closer, I think. So, Sydney, deep question here.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I'm getting everyone's opinion, or not opinions. I'm getting everyone's
Perspective.
of the events leading up to my surgery. But mostly starting with my diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I remember I tried to like call you. I think you weren't available.
I was probably
Did I text
at
you?
church or something. I remember.
What do you remember from like the day
I remember
that I told you?
I think you texted both of us like you had like big news.
Yeah.
I know, but you called me. I remember hearing
Yeah.
about it over the phone.
Okay.
You like were like, I have really big news.
Yeah.
You did text us. I think you said it individually though. Because I
Yeah.
remember after you told me, you said, "Okay, I'm gonna go call Sydney now." Bye. And then I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, freak!" But our moms ran into each other at the store earlier that day. So my
like
mom
before, like my mom told me.
like no, a couple hours before you told me.
Oh, okay.
Because like you had told your mom, "Hey, I'm telling the girls today" or something like that. And then
Yeah.
our moms ran into each other. Our mom was like, "Oh, so how you guys been? Like, how are you and Morgan?" And then your mom like said everything about it. And then my mom got home and she was like acting kind of weird. But I
Yeah.
didn't like. It's whatever. But maybe the store was stressful. And then whenever I was having lunch and I was sitting at the kitchen table and you had texted me, "Hey, can I FaceTime you real quick? I have some news." I thought it was gonna be about your mom's cancer.
Yeah.
You were gonna say it came back, or
Yeah.
something with your brother.
What'd you think with my brother?
That was the time when he was like kind of rebellious.
Yeah.
And so that's why I
And
was
he was
like,
getting kind of like
because
cray.
around this time you would FaceTime me to tell me all the stuff. Basically, for a while, whenever we'd FaceTime, it'd be bad news.
it was just like
So
tea,
sometimes
but
I
like
get triggered if I see a FaceTime
like
call.
dirty like HEB
Yeah.
tea.
Yeah.
Like where you're like, this is still tea, but man, this sucks.
This is murky.
Like this
So-
murky tea.
I thought it was either you're gonna tell me your mom's cancer came back or something had happened with your brother.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting this. So then I told my mom, "Hey, I'll be right back. Morgan needs to talk to me for something. I'll come back down." And my mom just was like nodding because she knew what I was
Yeah.
about to find out. But then you FaceTime me, and I was like just nodding.
Yeah.
Because you were like bawling, of
Yeah.
course. Because I opened it and you were bawling, and I was like,
That's the
what
second
just
time.
happened?
That's the second time like I FaceTimed you because I FaceTimed you after my mom told me
yeah,
she
that's
had
also
cancer.
why I was like, is she gonna tell me this again?
Right.
Because this is all for FaceTime.
Right.
But then you told me, and I think my eyes were watering, but I didn't cry.
Right.
Because I was still seeing you, and I didn't want you to see me cry.
Right.
And then I think we just talked about it or whatever, and I was like,
I remember it being
Whoa.
real quick because I was like I can't.
yeah. And then you said you were. I think I tried to make you laugh. I think it was like trying to make
Yeah, you did.
jokes. I didn't know what to do. I just make jokes if I don't know what
Yeah.
to do. But then the moment you're like, okay, like thanks for like listening, whatever. I'm gonna go call Sydney like right after this.
Right.
So I'll text you guys both after. So I think that's when she had like put us in your message. And then the moment I hung up, I like burst into tears, and that is by far the most I have ever cried.
Make me cry.
Like, and I just like, I either called for my mom because
Yeah.
I was upstairs
Yeah.
at the house at the time, or I texted her and she came in crying because she knew what
Yeah.
it was, and I cried for like a solid hour.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was gonna throw up. Like I always joke around and say
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw up." I
Yeah.
mean like legit.
It's that kind of, like,
Where
cry
I
that
went
you
into
feel
my
it.
bathroom
Yeah.
to cry in front of the toilet because I was like, "I'm here when it's ready." And then I told my mom like, tell my brothers, tell my dad, like I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about it.
Yeah.
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 And that was it. So that was how I was when I found out. And since then
Yeah.
very briefly come close to crying that much, but that's been the most I've ever
Endgame
cried.
the other night.
No, it was something else.
First a question, because I don't really remember like leading up to it.
Right.
Like, were you getting your thyroid checked for something? Like, what was the concern?
So,
'Cause
like,
I don't remember how it like.
It was vertigo, right?
No.
Well, that was like.
Did that have
wasn't-
anything to do with it?
Oh, well, I think we found out
Probably,
afterwards that
yeah.
like, it might have
Wasn't
had
your
something to do
mom
with it.
suspicious that
Well,
something was
yeah.
going
So
on?
like I went in for like a normal checkup, and they had a physician's assistant check my like with my thyroid doctor that I already had because I had Hashimoto's, and they like checked in. They thought it was just felt a little weird. I didn't think anything of it, and so they ordered to have a biopsy. I got a biopsy done before we left town that weekend, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe like worst case scenario, but I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's just like whatever, it'll be nothing. And they just like maybe checking levels. Maybe I don't have the Hashimoto's anymore. I don't know. But leading up to that, and then it was just like we went out of town, we went to the concert, came back, woke up, was told, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then like first person I called was Hannah,
Yeah.
and then everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. What I remember, because I just kind of remember going into complete shock.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, I don't remember. I think I cried about it, like, either, like, later that day or maybe the next day, but I was just, like, way too shocked, like, in the
Yeah.
moment. That's kind of how I react to most things like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really hard for me to process.
Right.
And I just, like, I remember literally being like my friend is gonna die. Like, I was like, or I mean, to me, like,
Right,
like
'cause
what
I-
you see in the movies, what you read in the
Right,
books, like
because
cancer means
You're gonna, yeah, it's
like
you're
you
gonna,
could
'cause
die.
I didn't know. I just was told I had cancer. I didn't know
yeah.
like what state,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
how bad it was. I just knew that, so it scared the crap out
Once
of me.
once like we learned it wasn't bad,
Right.
I honestly like I was like I didn't feel that way anymore. Like I knew you were
Right.
gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But I was still like,
In that moment.
yeah. Like in the moment, like I was just in complete shock. And like I remember like I went and I told my mom, I was like Morgan has cancer, like
Yeah.
and but like I never had a friend who was
Yeah.
ill before in like any way.
Right.
You know, and so it was like I just remember being really shocked and just like not really knowing what to do. And like I said though, like I don't remember a lot from it just because I was like in complete shock. Yeah. Even though I've said that like 12 times. like
I know,
like
like-
I wish I could remember like every
Right.
detail because I feel like that would make me a better friend if I did. But I literally just don't.
Because like there's different like you said you cried a lot. You were just in shock.
Yeah.
It was a mix of both of those.
Yeah, like you're just like I don't know.
You don't know how to feel. 'cause
What
you,
to do.
You don't. You
And I
never
mean,
do
in
that.
my head, I was like, it was this mix of like, my friend is gonna like die, but like, I couldn't accept it
Yeah.
either. I was like I don't know, like my brain was just rejecting it. It was like this
Yeah.
isn't real, like
Denial kind of
like
thing.
yeah, or just like I don't know, like because nothing like that happens in my life a lot, or like I haven't experienced like a death in my family for like since I was like a kid.
See, I
Like-
recently did that.
Like I was sick, like I was like 4 and 6 the last time someone in my family
Yeah.
passed away, or like we were faced with, or like my family, like I've had family members have cancer, but it was like when I was like really little and like
Yeah.
they like survived it and like
right.
all these great things. So like most of my life, like I just didn't know how to like deal with that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but
I
yeah,
remember
it
thinking the
was-
same thing, like thinking like Morgan was gonna die, which
Yeah.
is like so rough.
Mhm.
Cause it was like, was it a month that you had basically had it, that we had known until we knew it was gone? Was that a month
You mean like from my
from the day you told us to like when it was gone?
when I had my surgery?
Yeah.
No, it was a week.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. I was diagnosed on June 20th,
Mhm.
and then I had my surgery July
Oh
1st.
my
So it was like a
gosh.
week and a half.
I thought it was a month.
It
Okay,
felt like
that's
it.
probably
Yeah,
why.
it felt like
Because then I had the car
forever.
accident at the end of that week.
Yeah.
like Morgan found out she had cancer and then got in a car accident like a bad car accident,
Yeah.
like in the same.
Okay, that's probably
week.
why I feel like it was a month.
There was a lot that happened.
Like,
but I was
but I just want to
terrified.
say, like, during those times, like, I know me and Sienna were both like we need to get Morgan to church. Like, what
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
happening?
That-
Or I knew I was like the devil is just trying to like take my friend, and like I can't.
Yeah.
Like I can't let it happen. And so I remember we would invite you to like anytime there was like a special event, we'd be like, Morgan,
Yeah.
like please come to
Yeah.
church. Like I don't want you to like
because I remember
die from cancer and not go to heaven.
I know,
and,
like everyone has known you for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you've gotten way more involved recently because you're serving with like a
Yeah.
production team. But you
Yeah.
went in knowing like a bunch of people because
Mhm.
you just been like coming
'Cause-
and going.
Yeah.
Word of mouth.
Because
And
it
we
was
talk
just
about
Sydney
you.
and Sienna and
Yeah.
you know it's like the vowels like A-E-I-O-U and sometimes Y. At church it was like Sydney and Sienna and sometimes Morgan. Like whenever she decides to come.
Honestly.
But like whenever you
But
came, like
People
you
love
were a part.
Yeah.
You know, like
And also, I remember telling like the twins and like Lara, like Ashley, them like, "Hey, keep Morgan in your prayers. This is what's going
Yeah.
on."
Yeah.
So they were aware of it, but goodness,
Yeah.
I like didn't talk about it because I was like, I'm pushing it away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we I don't think that's why I was like we never had this like conversation about like
Yeah.
perspectives because it's
we've
like,
never talked about it because it was so terrifying.
yeah it's been 3
It's
years so
been-
it
yeah.
takes
I mean,
no time.
sometimes as awful as it is, like sometimes we joke about it.
Yeah.
Because
That's the thing.
after Morgan got cancer, she just like, like she entered into that, like she went through her midlife
Like
crisis
nothing can
at
touch me.
17,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she was just like, I'm just gonna live my life like to the fullest,
We
and she's
actually-
just been like that
We
since.
talked around about this earlier today
Mhm.
because I forgot what it said. And
She was like,
Sydney
I want to go
was
skydiving in Hawaii. And I was like,
Yeah.
ever since Morgan had cancer, she just doesn't care anymore.
Morgan's got tattoos.
That's the only way that I feel like we kind of I myself got through it was like being able to laugh at it.
Yeah, if you
even
can't
though I
laugh at
know there's some
something.
people that can't,
Yeah.
you know, anything. But that's
And as
like my
awful
way.
as it, like, that's all of our, like, coping
But
mechanism.
that's like the way because I'm like I don't want to be sad and depressed over something that like
Yeah.
happened and I'm fine. It's over. It's done with.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm
Hence
great.
why I tried making jokes to Morgan when she told me because I didn't know what
You're
to
like,
do.
you're like crying, but you're like, hey.
I know, I was like just staring at her like on FaceTime, like, what do I do? And I like made a joke. I think I told you something about Marilyn Monroe.
What the?
I remember her name got mentioned.
I don't. I
And I just
barely
like
remember
joked
anything
around
else.
and you were like just looking at me like what?
I was just
You're
like, okay.
bye. I was like, okay, bye.
But
And burst into tears.
I just know like that like that's the only way I've gotten through is like laughing and
'Cause
making
we
jokes
said-
at it.
Wasn't there a thing where you have to be quarantined?
Yeah, so
I
there's
remember that and just being like, it's about to get real. Or, I don't know. I remember one of my first thoughts, I just now remembered, I was like, Morgan's going to be bald because I have to go through chemo. Like, I was like, okay.
okay. If anybody's
'Cause it
offended
was-
by this, I'm sorry, but this is our way.
Yeah, because it was radiation, right? You're talking about.
Well, yeah, because
and
they-
you're like, what did she
Well, 'cause-
glow green?
Or like you were talking about like your family was gonna have to get hazmat suits, or you were gonna have to put your phone in like a Ziploc bag
Yeah,
for a week,
because, like,
or like
touch
you. I
anything.
remember you were saying like maybe I can get a new phone after because my phone will be like infected with the radiation.
Yeah, 'cause they-
and I was like. Some twisted like teenager who has cancer who just wants a new phone. I was like, what is going on?
Because they wanted to put me on radioactive iodine for some reason.
That's what it was.
For like
I-
a week.
I remember
No,
saying.
for like 2 to 3
2
weeks.
weeks.
I remember you were saying you're gonna glow green, 'cause, like in TV shows.
That's what was gonna happen. All the fluids in my body, though.
I was
Yeah.
like, who has the time?
But like I would have to be like quarantined into like either a hotel room or a room, and like everything would have to be wrapped in plastic. I had a certain kind of meal or diet I had to follow, and then we were like, oh my gosh, why go through? I would have to miss school. It's my senior year. It's like, why would I do this? And then we got a second opinion from people outside of Corpus, which is so much better, professionals, and
Don't trust anyone in corporate.
they said it would make it worse. I was like, oh thank God.
Yeah, if you but imagine someone being like, yeah, if you would have done radiation, your
my
cancer would have
gosh.
gotten worse.
It would have probably like
That's so
slowly come
awful.
back.
Or like, who's
yeah.
just don't
I remember
go to San Antonio to go to the
thinking of
doctor.
like the quarantine stuff, and you're telling us everything has to be wrapped in plastic and like hazmat suits. I was thinking, it's gonna be those things where like, if I wanted to hang out with you, I had to like put my arms
like an incubator kind
Yeah.
of thing.
if I wanted to like hug you, like put my arms through.
Shakes hands.
Yeah.
That's all that works.
God.
Yeah, but like that's our way. We laugh through it. We're like,
Yeah.
we're like,
Morgan.
we just go. There's moments where it's just like, you had cancer,
I know.
and you got like a make. You what?
I got 2
Do you?
wishes.
One for
the Tyler, one for the Gina. Oh
I
my-
remember. Do you remember Morgan when we had government together?
Yeah.
And these nurses came and spoke to our class. It was so weird because it's government. And they started talking about cancer, and I kid you not, Morgan and I burst out laughing because we looked at each other and we just burst out laughing.
Because in high school there was somebody who like, that's what I hated about it. I was like, I don't want a lot of people to know because I'm like,
Oh, wow, we wear our Team Morgan bracelets.
I know.
They're like, what are the
people wanted to
we're
make
like, we're not gonna
t-shirts.
talk
I'm like,
about.
we're not doing that.
Yeah.
It's not. But if you want, sure. But
Like you can pay for that. But
Yeah.
I don't care if my face is on your T-shirt.
but like I didn't want people like to like be like, you know, because I don't. I feel like there's been another person who had cancer at our school. I can't remember. Maybe I
Ew.
don't know. I don't know. But I'm just like, I'm fine, and I didn't want people like being like, because somebody was like, you can't see the word cancer on there. I'm like, it's a word. Chill out.
I remember that just being. I remember that. I was like, okay, girl, chill.
Like it's no, it's not.
Or technically, okay, didn't you like know you had cancer for like a week and then you got it taken out?
Yeah.
So it was like,
The
homegirl's
longest
neck
week
just
ever.
gotta heal and she'll be fine.
Yeah,
you know?
but like
I remember visiting you after you
I
got the
know.
surgery. It really does feel like it was a whole month and not
does.
just a week.
Because
Yeah.
I remember going in.
And you were like, wasn't your voice like kind of
a little
weird because
yeah.
of your throat?
Yeah, because like my because it was more my singing. Like I saw that difference, but I saw a little bit in
Yeah.
like my speaking voice. I expected to not be able to talk right after. I had cards made.
I remember you asked me how New York was because I had just gotten back and I
And
was
you were
like
like,
talking the whole time.
It was
But I
good.
remember the day before. This is kind of why I like the timing. Freaking God's timing, man. Christine, Kane, and Carrie Jo
Yeah.
had gone to church June 30th. Her surgery was July 1st. And the night before, like, Christine's, like, doing her thing. She's slaying it on stage. And I'm like, shoot, this girl can preach. This is, like, my 4th time seeing her, but she's the greatest. And she, like, I think I had looked down. I was writing something that she had said. And then she talked about, now, when I got cancer in my thyroid. And I immediately, like, looked up. And I was like, what? And then she said all this stuff. And I sent you the longest text
Yeah.
I've ever written.
Yeah, I remember that.
But explaining what had happened and, like, the most encouraging text I've also ever written.
Because it was like I
it was,
was
wild,
nervous the
like
night
how
before.
the timing was.
Yeah, that was weird. I was just like nervous from the night before it
Yeah.
and everything, but like
Because I think I remember saying like, "Oh, she uses her voice for a living, and I know you want to do that."
Yeah.
And she's still thriving.
I
and killing
wish
it.
I still had that text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything I said.
But I just know like that. I was like, oh my gosh, I could not like get through any of this without like both of y'all because
Yeah.
like I've been miserable and depressed. And I went through like the
Yeah.
depressing period where I was just like, I don't know what happened. Like
Yeah.
that was one of the points in like my life where sad enough to say it. I pretended like everything was okay, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
And spiritually, I got lost
Yeah.
real big time. But I
Yeah.
faked that I wasn't kind of thing. I just put it on.
You were. I remember because it was like you guys kind of like stopped going to your old church in that season.
Yeah.
Because I used to like be like, well, like I don't want to invite Morgan because like she has her own church.
I would
Right.
think the exact same thing.
And my mom would even be like, why don't you invite Morgan to church? I was like,
my
Mom.
mom would do that
And
too.
I'm like, well, Morgan like has her own church, and I don't want to like interfere and
Right.
like you know like
Yeah.
it's a big
Like,
thing in
steal
church
someone.
culture. So like even if there's someone that's like you're like they're not really like living for God, but if they still go to church, it's like you just don't like mess with
Like
that.
you don't want to steal from someone else's like congregation.
Right.
Like, just for
yeah,
yourself.
or it's like
Gladly, please.
or like
steal me from
everyone
Yeah.
has their own like
But I had
preference in
the
a
exact
church
same
and all that.
thought.
And so I was like, well, Morgan has her own church, but I didn't know like you hadn't really been going anymore.
you. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh dang, like she's not even going to church anymore,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, like that was like the craziest week of your life.
Yeah.
Like
Like it was.
that's insane.
Yeah, I just
A week?
went through so many emotion. I barely know what I did that week. Like, honestly.
I mean, I thought it was a month until
Yeah.
now.
No, it was a week. Yeah, I feel like that's the thing. Like emotional, stressful things. Like we
Yeah.
remember them as longer.
Yeah.
But like, it was a whole week and a half. It was the most roller coaster week and a half of my life.
Yeah.
Because I just remember thinking, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I don't care what form it is. Cancer's cancer.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
And I think like the three of us, like our friendship, like from then on out, it was never like I don't know. After that, it was just different.
I
yeah.
feel like, like even though it was strong before, it was like stronger.
Yeah, we got even
Yeah.
strengthened it even more.
It was like it was like I don't even care like what you're going through or like anything like I'm gonna be here for you.
Yeah.
Look at us now.
Look at us
Freaking
now.
cool. Like every
Dang.
time like I talk about y'all, I'm like my friends from Corpus. Like honestly, like I've had so many like friends from Corpus. Like I don't really talk to a lot
Yeah.
anymore. Like I still talk to y'all like almost every day.
Yeah.
And I mean even if I don't, like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't change anything
Right.
if I don't talk to you every single day.
We ain't
Or it's
needy.
like y'all still reach out. Like y'all came to visit me.
Yeah.
Like that means so much to me. You know.
We gotta
really
come
here.
out.
Yeah, but we gotta come out. Like we gotta see what's going on.
Gosh.
I do want to tell like a really like other quick funny story.
Okay.
Do you remember when we used to call it the C card?
Yes.
And
We did.
Oh
Yeah.
I would play it.
like Morgan,
Oh my
she would use it at school.
When?
Like a little bit. Like only like
I
a
wouldn't
little
use it
bit.
because I was just like, that's stupid to use.
Or like I think it started with like the Make-A-Wish stuff. Like when you were like, I applied for Make-A-Wish, I was like, homegirl's not gonna get it. Like she doesn't even have cancer anymore.
I was.
I was like, sorry, I just said I was like for like 5 times. I just remember being like, she's not gonna get
Me
Make-A-Wish.
I
Like,
was like, she's not.
but
a
when she
child
got
at
it,
the
I was like,
time.
oh my
But you also,
gosh.
because your idea of Make-A-Wish was terminally ill,
Yeah.
Like,
which that has changed.
yeah. And I was like, I mean, Make-A-Wishes for
And then
people
Morgan
that are
got
like
2 wishes.
gonna die. And I was like, what? But Morgan had like 2 dreams like come true and like with like 1 wish.
Yeah, that's why we say 2 wishes, because she got her
I
main
wish
wish.
to meet Gina Rodriguez. I bet her on the set of Jane the Virgin. But with that, like the week before, or no, a couple days before we left, one of my other favorite shows, Teen Wolf, had its series finale, and Tyler Posey, a.k.a. Scott McCall, the Teen Wolf, was having guest appearances on Jane the Virgin. So I got to meet him, too.
Yeah, so
She got to meet like 2 of her favorite actresses.
I got 2
wishes,
one for the Tyler and one for the Gina.
And that was our joke, like
And we
all
went to our senior trip was to Six Flags, and Morgan got a shirt that says
Like,
2 wishes.
something like, 2
And we
wishes,
saw
here
it.
I am, or something
Yeah.
like that.
or
That's
like,
like, what are your remaining 2 wishes?
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
And I remember you saw it sitting, and you were like, Morgan, you have to
to
get this. So she got it.
But what other time am I play the C card?
I don't know. We would say like you don't remember that?
I used my
Oh.
mom's.
I would call it the C card. I was like,
in
Morgan's just
physics,
using
but
the C
I
card.
wasn't using it for game.
Not like for school. I don't know. It was just like I don't and it
I
was
feel
never
I
like
used it in a
it was
joking
never
way.
bad, but we would always joke about it.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
you're playing the C card. I'm like,
Or I felt I think it was like if someone was like feeling bad for you or something,
Yeah.
I would be like, dude, she's like totally using the C card right now. And this was like long after like Morgan had it removed, like she's fine, like she's like back at school and everything,
Yeah.
like we weren't worried anymore.
yeah.
I mean, I was for a while. I was like, is she like really good?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
She's
was
just
good.
like,
I was just tired.
yeah, she was just tired for like a long time. I
I
was
w-
like, I feel you.
Still am.
She's still tired. But I was like,
Some say she'll never stop being tired. Probably. Legend has it.
do y'all remember like using that free? I feel like I'm the only one that remembers.
Were you the only one that would say that?
I know I started it.
I know I've said it a couple times. I feel like I said it in more like a joking matter.
Yeah.
No,
It's always been a joke.
Yeah.
Like it's never been serious.
No.
But I don't know. I felt like I know it was never you doing it on purpose. But like I said, like I think it was like if someone was like feeling bad for you, you wouldn't be like you wouldn't like dismiss it. No, I'm not trying to
I
sound
see what you mean.
I'm not like trying to make it bad. Like Morgan's a good person. But I was like dude, like I don't know, it wouldn't have been like that like without it, if you know what I mean.
I know what
Yeah.
you mean.
And like we're the worst, like how we just joke about it, but at the same time
I
it was like
know.
But it's the only way. I
like
feel like I
we
got
all went through it together.
Yeah.
And like I don't know.
You have to.
That's
I
what
was like,
matters.
you have to joke about it because like if we're sad and
What
depressed,
is,
it's
also,
gonna make it
what
worse.
is up
I don't know.
What's that sound
in the hallway?
Guys throwing up. I don't know.
Dude, can you imagine?
What time is it?
It's almost
Am I just
midnight. We'll probably have to end this. Okay.
Okay.
So right now we are joined with my mother. Came up with this idea last minute to try to get my family's reactions as well because we've never really talked about it. So what better way than on a podcast? So I'm gonna ask you, Mom. Of course, you and Dad found out before me, and then you came to tell me. So that whole weekend and that morning of June 20th, when you got that call, like what was your day like up until that moment, and then past that moment, I guess.
Okay, well, I'd like to go back a few days.
Okay.
I'd like to go back to when we found out that you had to have a biopsy.
Right.
And I had just finished my 30 rounds of radiation and was so excited to move forward and get the biopsy over with. Then,
Did you think anything of that biopsy?
no, I did not. No,
Okay.
I did
Yeah,
not.
neither did I.
I thought everything was going to be fine.
Right.
I had noticed some swelling in your neck, but I did not think much of it because I was so on a high that we were going up to Bandera to see Grant get baptized by y'all's dad. And then I was so excited just for a girls' weekend with you and Hannah and for me to chill at the hotel and y'all to go see Selena Gomez, and that was a blast. And so anyway, it was just a whirlwind of emotions that led up to that day. And so I really had not started my day. It was 8 o'clock in the morning, and the doctor called. And
What were you expecting out of that call?
I was expecting good news.
Right.
I was pretty much
There was no nerves behind it.
no nerves. Well, of course, some other worries, especially everything, we had gone through.
Right.
And then, I just pretty much fell to my knees, like literally fell to my knees. And
Where were you?
I was in bed, and because it was at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
It was the first thing. I mean,
It was a Sunday.
No, it was a Monday.
Monday, yes.
We had just gotten back from Dallas on Sunday, and I was tired
Yeah.
and very, very tired. And so that's, I fell to my knees. I started crying. I went, why, God? Why? I mean, as a mother, you would rather go through it than your own child.
Right.
And so that was my feeling. So I immediately called your father. I did not tell him. He was on the way to the dentist, and I did not tell him what kind of cancer, even though we knew
just
what
said cancer?
Cancer. And so that was very emotional when he came in, and we hugged and cried. And I'm just one of these moms that goes right into, okay, let's get answers mode, because I had just gone through it with mine. So I just started the whole process over again, made a few phone calls, and it was just a really tough day. I just stayed on the phone all day, and then your father and I decided to, before he was going to leave, because there's nothing really he could do, and he knew I was going to start trying to get some answers,
Right.
because we just didn't know which direction to go. You were about to start your senior year.
Right.
And there were just so many opinions coming at us that it was hard for us to, that was just a very, very tough and emotional week to finally make the decisions for you. And I feel like now looking back that we made awesome decisions, and just God. It was all spirit led. It was just total God that opened one door, opened another, and praise God, you didn't have to have RAI treatments.
No.
So you're healthy.
Right.
You look awesome, and we are blessed.
That whole day was just like, before y'all told me what was, because y'all came up and told me around like probably 10:30. I remember at least.
Yeah. I don't know. I think your dad wanted to tell you.
He ended up telling me because you can get through it.
Yeah, like I said, I was pretty much fried.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
So, one of the first persons I called was Jolie, because she's had 2 daughters that have gone through cancer,
Right.
and one, by the grace of God, survived. Well, both survived, but one was stage 4. So, and once again, everyone came through and just started dropping off gift cards, and
Yeah,
we ate at Jason's Deli forever.
Yeah, we had food from March to like July. We had food
Yeah.
for free basically.
And then sadly, it just went from bad to worse. Then you had a car
Domino
accident.
effect kind of.
Yeah. It was like I was pretty much like.
So what?
So my faith was questioned. I did question
Right,
my faith at
yeah,
times.
Like I did too. I've told you that before. And
I became pretty angry.
Right.
I was okay through my
right.
situation.
It's that fact that it happened back to back just made it a little worse.
Yeah, and not my child.
Right. And the day of my surgery, which is the day this goes up, July 1st.
Yes.
What was your mindset going into that?
Well, your Aunt Sia told me to calm down. And I was like, no, I mean, I just knew it was going to be okay. I just wanted the cancer out of your body.
Right.
As a mother, I want that cancer out, and then
Right.
we'll go.
Right.
Because believe it or not, as sick as y'all were as kids, I kept y'all out of the hospital. I kept y'all on breathing treatments constantly, but
Right.
y'all didn't have to have long hospital stays. So this was one of the first.
Right.
And you were 17.
Right.
So, I didn't know what I was going to be prepared for after. I didn't know what the drains were going to look like. I mean,
I didn't know what I was gonna look like. I didn't know I was supposed to have those in my neck or whatever. I didn't know
Yeah.
what I was supposed to look like. I
so,
saw photos later of me sleeping. I looked like a wreck.
yeah. Well, no, not like a wreck, but you just looked very sick.
Yeah.
So, anyway, and fast forward, and then getting the connection to take you to MD Anderson was just the best ever, because
I
we
would have
got.
done treatments had it not been for them.
I feel like you would have if we would have stayed local.
Yeah, because they.
And that's the toughest decision. Anyone listening to this is you have to choose. It's a very personal decision. You have to choose whether you want to stay local or if you want to go to the Mayo Clinic or MD Anderson.
Right.
It's a very personal choice.
Right, very much so, because like
But
you stay local, and like local here is like if you live in a big city, I feel like there's better, like MD is in Houston. That's a huge place. Like that's medical central.
It's a melting pot. Everybody
Yeah.
from all across the world goes to MD.
Exactly, and so like going here locally was like questionable even for you through yours. I think I remember you were just like, I don't know, should I go somewhere more professional or like not more professional, but like more, I don't know.
I look back and I wish I would have gone to MD.
Right.
I wish I would have gotten a second opinion.
Right.
But
Because you had to go through different options, of course, more than I
yes,
did.
many.
Because
Yes.
of breast cancer, there's more options, but
But mine was miraculous because it came out in the biopsy. It was
Right.
it was caught so early.
right.
So, but it doesn't shake the fact that we had cancer, but we survived it. We're survivors. We're overcomers.
Yep.
I'm not saying it was easy mentally. I went a little wacko, but it was hard. It was hard to see you going through that.
Yeah.
There-
There's everything. Yeah.
But you stayed strong.
I tried to.
You stayed very strong.
I put up a kind of a front, but
Well, of
still.
course, but it was time to take off the layers of the mask,
Right.
and
Took a couple years.
it did take you 2 years. I'm the type that grieves immediately, and you're the type that,
It took me 2 whole years.
yeah.
I processed it.
I kept saying, does she have PTSD?
Right, because I put up a video last year for 2 years on my YouTube channel, and like as I was filming it, I kind of like broke down and started processing the smaller things from it.
Yeah.
Like just walking down a hallway. Like I started breaking down when I started remembering that I walked down
Yeah.
the hallway almost every day, holding on to what you were dad.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I was finally processing it then and there.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it just took a while, and that's
There's no,
understandable.
God never puts a timeline on grief, but everyone has to grieve at their own pace. And that is, and having cancer is a grieving process
Yeah.
because it's something that is not wanted in our bodies.
Mhm.
And it's very, very sad to see how many are affected by cancer.
Okay, well, thank you, Mama. Okay, so we have my dad here now. We're going to speak about all this as well that we've spoken with everyone else with. And so I'm going to ask you the question. The day of I was diagnosed, June 20th, Mom got the call first, and then you were at the dentist, you said. Or like you were driving home from the dentist or something like that. So when she called you, she said that you just said I had cancer, but you didn't say what kind. Or she didn't say what kind. But, like, what was your general reaction to that? And also, like, when I got the biopsy, did you have any worries behind that?
Well, when I got the call from your mom, like you said, I was on the way home from the dentist, and my initial reaction was to keep your mom calm as
Right.
best as I could,
Right.
as much as your mom gets emotional about things,
Right.
and that was certainly to be emotional about. But I've just tried to explain to her that it was, because we'd heard before that one of the, quote, best things to, if it was a cancer to get, is thyroid cancer.
Right. No
So
breast cancer.
back in my mind was that this would be okay, everything would be fine,
Right.
and just to try and calm your mom. But I knew I had to get home to get her calmed down or
Right.
whatever, so we could talk about it.
Right.
As soon as I hung up the phone, though, my mind went to asking why does it don't happen to her? Just not to be. That shouldn't happen to my daughter.
Right.
It shouldn't happen to, of all the people, it shouldn't happen to you.
Right.
Don't want to affect the family, that kind of thing. Just over and over in my head. Oh, no.
Right.
Got home as quick as I could, but my initial reaction was just of course, shock. That's just normal.
Right.
But just it shouldn't be happening to you. There's
Right.
no reason for it to happen.
Right.
But I just got home as quick as I could to be with your mom and for us to talk it out and calm ourselves down. So.
Right. And the biopsy, did you have any, like, when we did that the couple days before the baptism, the concert, everything like that, the biopsy was before all that. Did you have any, like, worries going into it, or did you think it was just, like, a precautionary thing?
I just thought it precautionary. That's the way I think. I don't
Right.
think negative. I think positive
Right.
on things. So I didn't think that way.
I talked about how I didn't have any worries behind it, but also, like, in the very, very far back of your mind, you think possible worst case scenario, but you're like, no. But I guess another thing was during the whole week leading up to that, to the surgery itself, we found the doctor, we had the car accident and everything like that. It was kind of like a domino effect of bad things. But the day of the surgery, was there any worry or nerves going into that for you?
Well, there's always going to be nerves because it is your daughter, it's your
Right.
kid. You don't like to see your kid going under surgery for anything,
Right.
much just cutting or anything. Waiting in the waiting room had its moments of just wanting to be over with and to find out everything went fine and everything. It was emotional at times because you just kind of you don't want the worst.
Right.
But we knew it wasn't going to be a worst. It was just a matter of you going into surgery, going under, and also being cut on.
Right.
And even though they reassured us it was just a normal procedure, they'd be getting it out and be out in no time. So
I don't think I ever asked. Or maybe I did and I just don't remember. How long was I in surgery for? Do you remember?
I'd say a couple of hours, but maybe it wasn't quite that long. Maybe.
'Cause, like
Maybe
maybe,
an
I
hour
was
and
in
a half.
surgery and then like ICU for
Yeah, you were in
about an
ICU for
hour.
a little bit.
Yeah. That I have no recollection of, but apparently, I attacked doctors.
Right.
But going in, seeing me after surgery, was there any like emotion seeing me like that or in that state? Because I didn't know what I was supposed to I was supposed to look like after I was.
Well, neither did
on.
we. We didn't know what to expect either.
Right.
But just knowing that you were out of surgery, that you were somewhat awake,
Right. I was
that
in
you
and
may
out.
not have not, it probably been probably foggy for you, but for us just to see you and be able to know that you were awake, that you
Right.
were good. Again, I thought on the positive that, everything went fine. They got it out. It's just
Right.
a matter of, you had the drain tubes in, which was wasn't something we were looking, didn't have no clue what it was going to
Neither
be
was
like.
I.
Right. But it was, I wasn't nervous at all. Just glad to be over with and
Right.
we could start the process of getting you into recovery.
Right. Yeah. And I was talking to Mom how I kind of took me a long time to process it. While she's somebody who grieves right away, I took me a couple of years to finally process the little things of it. And I made a video last year I put up where I kind of like slowly process like the little things, like walking down the hall with you because my butt would get sore, like I'd numb, and so I'd be like, I need to walk around. We'd walk around the hallway with you or Mom and everything like that, and I kind of processed that and like just like little moments like I remember from there where that were good and fun
Yeah.
and lighthearted instead of being depressing
Right.
because you don't want it to be depressing.
Yeah, it was on July 4th holiday
out.
weekend. And
Right.
so, yeah, it was obviously, as we have always said, is very different because they got less and less people.
Yeah.
And so until finally we were the only ones there. So.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay, well, thank you for talking to me. And
Oh, you're welcome.
sharing.
Love you.
Love you. If you've made it this far, and I really hope you did, thank you for listening to today's episode. It was a very important one and meant a lot to me, and I'm so glad I did this. So thank you for listening. There's no song recommendations this week, but join us next week as we get back to our regular schedule and regular episodes. Thank you.